Good morning everyone, we're back with Dave for Dave's tiny tip, and he tells me that this week we're going to do a little bit of a review on the installation, and then we're going to go to lining, in particular MDF lining and a bit of cedar lining, which we use a lot. So over to you, Dave.
Terrific. So just going back to where we finished off last week as far as like installation. Obviously before the installation goes in, you have to have your rough in done, which is pretty important, so that way we know where everything is and then we can insulate everything around it. So just to touch base again, yesterday here we've got our rough in, we've got our water in place, we've got our power in place, so we're just going to stick the insulation in like so. And if you've got a situation like this, it's best off just cutting it out. Otherwise, if you try to run it over this batten that's actually holding the pipework in place, it'll actually end up bulging out and the sheet will end up bulging. So we're just going to stuff this insulation in behind the pipes. Like I say, this eco wall is pretty good because it's the non-itchy stuff. Jam it in there. And all good. And now that particular section of the wall is ready for lining. So now we'll go to and talk about our different lining products that we actually use here at Designer Eco Tiny Homes. So here we have 6mm FC sheeting, and this particular lining option we use in our bathrooms, being a wet area material. As you can see, we just paint this straight over with a paint. And the episodes come up, I'll show you what we actually do in our shower area. But today we're just going to end up just lining our bathroom. I'll show you how to line the bathroom with our FC sheeting. So another thing to think about too is to line the bathrooms. The handy tip is to keep, there's an actually internal wall that goes here, either a sliding door or an opening door that we put in. The idea is to line this bathroom area without these walls being in place. It makes it much easier to get the sheets in rather than trying to squeeze it through a doorway. So we put the sheets in first and then we put the walls up. So I'm going to grab Danny here.
Hi Danny.
Here's our lining team, and we're going to grab one of these sheets and we're going to put it up. The other thing we're going to talk about today too is that we always work from the centre out. So here we have a centre line which we've measured the overall width of our internal width of our tiny home. We put a line down there and we work. So we measure from here back to the corner. Obviously give it a couple of mil so you know it's not too tight, so you can actually move the sheet around to make sure that that end of that sheet actually lines up with this line all the way down. Obviously measure up or measure down, whichever way you like, and measure across from the wall or from this end to get your pipe work hole sizes, and then we just use a masonry hole saw to cut these holes out. Now the other thing we did, we talked about this lip. It's a very important lip on this base. You might have remembered last week we were talking about, or the week before we were talking about running the sheet right past. So as you can see, we've cut this shower base in, and now our FC sheet's going to run right through, and it's just going to sit about 3mm or 1.5 mil above this base, which then creates the best waterproofing application that you can get. So here we go. We're just about to go and grab the sheet and chuck it on.
Nice bit of glue, we're ready to go. Be careful.
So as you can see, Danny's just putting on a very thin trim of what we use, a Sikaflex glue. It's an all-round purpose glue that we use on all our lining. Terrific. It's exactly the same as, say, if you use a Max Bond or a liquid nails, anything like that is exactly the same. Terrific. So we're going to grab this sheet now. And here we have Tommy, who's also part of the team. As you can see, they're quite heavy. So as you can see, we're just going to put it in place. Now this particular hole, if everybody's wondering what this hole is all about, that's where we're actually going to put an exhaust fan. The exhaust fan is a very, very important thing I also believe to put in a tiny home bathroom, because it's such a small bathroom, to keep the moisture out of the bathroom to keep it just moisture free and mold free really. A very, very good thing. So once again, we're going to, once again, as you can see, if Kylie wants to come over here, we're about, say, 3 or 4 mil off that centre line at the top, and I actually cannot see my centre line down the bottom. So what I'm going to do, use a block of timber. Never just use the end of your hammer because you'll just damage the sheet. So we're just going to tap this sheet over until we see that line. As you can see, the line's starting to appear now. Probably give it another tap. And then we just go that in, over again, and as you can see, it's right on that line now. So that's perfect up the top. So what I'll do is I'll put a nail down here just to hold it in place. And the 6mm FC sheeting is very thick and it is a real bugger sometimes to get through.
It is, isn't it? And how long does it take for the glue to dry?
The glue itself probably takes, look, it'll probably take an hour for it to dry. Okay. To be quite honest, sometimes you just need that second go. We'll tap that in, and then we'll go to the top.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we're still about 3 or 4 mil off that line. Tommy's actually going to use a lever down the bottom there, as you can see, and he's going to lever that sheet up. Probably about another 2 or 3 mil there, Tommy. So the block, as you can see, without damaging, he's doing that on top of the packer. But as you can see, he's bringing that sheet over as he's pushing it up.
That's it, Dave.
Keep it going there, Tommy. Keep it going.
That's all you got.
Right, yeah. So as you can see, we're pretty well on the mark. And as you can see, we're just going to nail. So we come over now, we've marked. Another important thing to do is always mark the stud work. So that's our stud before we actually put the sheet on. We measure it out, we put a line down here. So the other thing to think about is how far do we do our spacings on our nails? Well, first of all, we do at the top. Now, as far as rule of thumb is concerned, we do about 300 mil. So pretty well, a builder's hammer's roughly about 300 mil. So we end up using our hammer as a bit of a gauge. Hold the nail about there. It's a nice little handy tip without having to worry about actually measuring it out. So it's about there. And so forth. We just carry on all the way down, all the way across and back up the top again. And that sheet will then, the next sheet comes along. This here is our recessed mirror cabinet. So as you can see, we've made a cut already down here. We actually don't cut the rest of it out until we actually get the sheets in. Terrific. Now we're just going to talk about also the pipe work. So another important thing to do is to wear, as far as nailing is concerned, you don't want to put a nail through the pipe work. So we just simply, before we actually put the sheet on, the pipe's actually ran through here. So if we just marked our sheets where the pipe work actually ran, we will make sure that we have there's no nails to be fixed in this area. So that way there is no possible way that we can actually cut or put a hole in the pipes. Because once the lining goes on, as you can imagine, it would be a very big nightmare to actually change that. So a very, very important thing to remember.
Good tip.
So the other thing we use here in Designer Eco Tiny Hands, we use a couple of other products to line our internal walls with. Now we have in the past, as you might have seen on our website, we've actually used Western Red Cedar internal lining boards. So as you can see, and they have a tongue and groove sort of a system. So here we have the groove, and with the tongue up the top.
Got it.
And they just simply go together. Obviously we've got a splay on them on one side. See that Kylie? I think just turn it around.
Oh yeah. Got it.
So that's obviously the top edge and the bottom edge. And they just clip together. See with the starting point. From stud to stud, we end up secret nailing down through the groove there with a very, very small, like a brad gun is all we use. with a very small nail, and then we just clip the next one on, and then once again just tack that one, next one, tack again. That locks the whole thing in position. Once again, we just use the same glue. Same glue as what we're using. Like I say, we just use the Sikaflex brown glue, which is pretty well equal to our like liquid nails or Max Bond or anything like that. So yeah, so next we're going to show you the other product that we use at Design Eco Tiny Homes is this MDF sheeting. It's a V-groove sheet. Now this sheeting comes in full sheets as far as like 2400 by 1200, 2700 by 1200, and 3 metres and 3.6. So I do believe in this MDF. Once again, it's a tongue and groove setup. As you can see, it's got a groove, and it actually comes with a plastic tongue that goes in between. Goes together, clips together. Now once again, we also have a centre line here again. We work off that centre line, we work back to the corner. Down here to the corner. Now this particular sheet, lining board, would actually go all the way up. It's the one piece to cut up around the window and finish off up here. So we'd end up doing this whole section with just the 2 sheets. And obviously anything that we cut out of here just becomes waste. So yeah, so once again, with this particular lining board, we'll end up just using the same glue again, not too much of it, and just use simple, just a nail gun just to shoot it straight on. And that's about it. So hopefully we use these products obviously for weight issues. So obviously, you know, our 4.5 ton units, our 7.2s, our 6.0s, got to keep them under 4.5 ton. A 3.6, we've got to keep under sort of 3.5 ton, and our 4.8's under 3.5 ton, our 3.6's under 2.8 ton. So.
And we're currently in a GX, a 7
we're in
200.
7.2 at the moment,
Yep.
So we're going to line this obviously. We're trialling out a new product, a new MDF lightweight product in this particular unit. Before that, we would use the ply product, which was very lightweight, but unfortunately just comes in at 2.4 length. So we always have to have a getting strip. And painting was a little bit more of an issue as far as using the plywood, because you know, it needs to be sanded each time in between coats. Where an MDF product, as we have here, comes off with a very, very nice smooth finish, and it just then needs just 3 coats, an undercoat, 2 top coats, without sanding in between. So a much quicker process. So that's why we're actually trialling out a new product, which we haven't received yet, but it sounds like.
Excellent.
Terrific.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Tommy,
Yes,
and
Tommy and
Danny at the end there.
Danny,
Thanks for your help. See you next week.